Benvenuto! Welcome to Cherry Hill Home Cooking. My name is Mark. In my quest over the last couple weeks looking for low-carb recipes, I came across this one, and because it says they're even better than Toll House cookies, I had to prove it to myself. So we're going to make some keto / low-carb chocolate chip cookies. All right, now, it's basically a chocolate chip cookie recipe, except you change the flour, which is really high carb. One of the things you change that out for is almond flour. Now, I looked at several different recipes, could not find any of the products that they suggested within the video themselves, so I had to get what I could get at my local supermarket. Had I thought it through a little bit, maybe I would have ordered them and then done the video at a later time, but I wanted some chocolate chip cookies. So we've got some almond flour, okay? One of the other things we need is light brown sugar. And I've worked with this a little bit, measured it out. It really acts just like regular cane light brown sugar. This is Truvia, I think that's how it's pronounced. Brown sugar with a hint of molasses. And it's low carb. All right, the next ingredient, of course, we need some chocolate chips. Again, I couldn't find the brand they recommended, but I was able to find no sugar added chocolate chips. Now in the original recipe, it calls for milk chocolate, but I couldn't find milk chocolate, so we're going to use dark chocolate. Like I said, we talked about the brown sugar. We need 3/4 of a cup of lightly packed brown sugar. You know what that means, guys. You put it in the cup, just pat it down lightly. You don't need to press it down. But it does work very much like regular brown sugar. We need a half a cup of butter, which is a half of stick of butter melted, but we don't want it hot, okay? So you want to melt it and then let it cool down. For our leavening, our raising agent, we need some baking soda. The recipe says baking powder will not work, so make sure you don't think, oh, I don't have any baking soda, I'm going to substitute it for some baking powder. No, get your baking soda. We need some vanilla extract. All right, here we've got our half a cup of our no sugar added chocolate chips, and we're going to add 1/4 of a cup of chopped pecans or almonds. You can omit that if you want. And we need 1 egg. All right, now, before I get to mixing everything, the one thing it suggested is that with the almond flour, you weigh it out, okay? Now, if you don't have a food scale, go ahead and use a cup, but again, don't pack it in too tight. Do it just like we've done when we do other bacon. We just take our cup and we spoon it in lightly with a tablespoon, all right? So we're going to clear this out, hopefully. Clear for me. All right, there we go, 0. And we need, 2 cups, so we need 200 grams. And I guess with the almond flour, because it can be a little dense, I think that's why it says to weigh it. So we want, 200 grams. Now, the only downside really about cooking low carb or keto is things tend to be much more expensive. This little package of almond flour was $12, where a 5-pound bag of flour is what, $5? But hopefully it will be worth it and give us a little bit of sweet. 96. 201, we'll take a little tiny bit out of there. Now we're at 199. Come on, come on, come on. Well, see, and you can see how that even actually kind of stayed on there a little bit. So it is a little denser. All right, there we go. 201, we're sticking with that. All right, now I have my baking powder. And I think I did say salt. Of course, whenever you do something sweet, you need a little bit of salt because that's going to bring out the sweetness. I already have that in the bottom of our bowl. So we're going to, just like you do with any baking, we're going to incorporate that with a whisk. And our wet ingredients is just the egg, the butter, and a little bit of vanilla extract. Let's make sure yep, I got that all off the bottom. All right, we can put these over here. Oh, also you're going to need a parchment sheet pan, parchment lined sheet pan. I'm not sure if I'm going to need 1 or 2 of those, so I got 2 ready for us. Okay, let's see, what would we start with first? Let's start with, well, no, we're going to put it all in. All right, our butter. Make sure you get every little bit in there. Our egg. And I'm going to do this over here, just in case that happens. Make sure we don't get any shells in there, which we didn't. That's 1 large egg. Of course, with the egg shortage across the country there a few months ago, I don't know if you've noticed, but you buy a dozen eggs, and none of them are really the same size. You get some bigger ones, you get some smaller ones. I don't know what's going on with our chickens, but and we need a 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. There we go. And we can move from the whisk to a sturdier spoon, and we just want to mix that all together. It smells good. It kind of smells like chocolate chip cookies. Make sure we get any of our dry ingredients off the bottom. And I'm going to pick this up. All right, that looks good. All right, we can add our pecans in. Give it a little toss. And get our chocolate chips in. Now, I don't know if it's 100% necessary, but I'm going to just put this in the refrigerator. Let that butter harden up a little bit, so it's a little easier. In a couple of the recipes I saw, they did that. In some of them, they didn't. But I'm going to do that. So we're going to put this in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes. All right? We'll be back in 15 minutes. We'll form our cookies and get them in the oven. All right, guys, so I let our batter here, our dough, sit in the refrigerator for about 15 minutes, and I think it actually is probably a good idea to do it because it seemed a little, that like was a little hard to work with. Anyway, I've got my little scoop here. I'm going to look up and see what this, I think this is 2 teaspoons or 2 tablespoons, I can't remember. But anyway, you can make these as big or small, or bigger if you want. I wouldn't make them any smaller because then they're going to cook too fast. But so we're going to use this to scoop this out, pack it in there good, and we're going to roll it a bit. And it says to keep them at least 2 inches apart. So we're going to do that. I'll get a couple done because there's one little step. So again, like I said, we've got our oven preheated to 325. These are going to take about, I think it was 15 to 18 minutes. I'll check to cook. And then you want to let them cool thoroughly because it says they'll be very soft. So they need to cool down a bit before you attempt to take them off the cookie sheet, or they're going to, of course, break in half. We'll do a couple more. Because then the next step is, it says, to give them a little push down to about 3/4 of an inch. All right? So we'll give them a little push. That one's going to have a lot of chocolate chips in it. And it's going to stick to your hand. They are going to spread out a bit. But they won't rise all that much. So, all right, guys. So you get the general idea. I'm going to go ahead and do the rest of them. And when I'm done, we'll put them in the oven. See you in a little bit. All right, guys, as you can see, it took me 2 sheets. Now, you could do them separately. I'm going to attempt to do them both in the oven at the same time. So I've got one rack on the middle and one the next one up, okay? And we're going to just kind of offset them a little bit in the oven. And you might, I'm going to check them probably about halfway through, see if we need to turn the sheet, especially since I've got them in the 2 racks, okay? So it's 15 to 18 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for 15 minutes, okay? Set a timer for 15 minutes.
Sure, 15 minutes. And we're starting now.
I'll come back and check them, and if they need a few more minutes, we'll leave them in. So you're looking for them to be slightly browned. They'll look puffy, a little dry, and slightly browned. Anyway, we'll see what they look like in 15 minutes. All right, guys, mine have taken just about 17 minutes, and I think they're perfect. Oh, look at that. All right, I am going to move the ones from the bottom shelf. You can see they're a little bit not quite as golden brown, so I'm going to put these back in for a minute or two. But I think we got chocolate chip cookies. All right, so like I said, we need to let these thoroughly cool. They are quite soft, so you want to let them thoroughly cool on the sheet and then remove them to a platter and enjoy. Okay, it's cookie time. Well, they certainly smell like cookies. They look like cookies. Yeah. This one's a little bit browner than a couple of the others. But now, keeping in mind these might be low carb or keto, I don't want you to make a batch of these and sit down and eat the entire plate if they're that good, because it will, especially if you're watching sugar because of diabetes, it will, probably kill you.
Really?
Because it's not sugar-free. All right?
It won't kill you.
Yeah, well, who knows? I mean, if you ate all of those, I mean, how many did we get? I think I got... I can't remember now. I'll have to count them. But we got about
12 each.
12 each? Was there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9? There was. So I did actually get 2 dozen cookies out of it. All right. So they're a little crisp on the outside. They're more tender, a little bit tender in the inside.
Not bad. Well,
Not bad at all. No. I won't say who said which recipe I saw this better than Toll House. No. They're not bad. I mean...
would you supposed to use sweet chocolate on this?
Well, the milk chocolate.
Milk chocolate?
Which is, it's the same because it's the no sugar chocolate. So, I could have made it a little bit sweeter tasting, but I actually like the dark chocolate on that.
It's not really bad.
They're delicious, of course, with some milk. Yeah, I mean, that'll be nice. We'll have those for the next couple days. We'll have a couple for our snack. I think they're delicious. Like I said, not as good as Toll House cookies, but
Not bad.
Well, if I'm not alive, that means I ate the whole plate.
You're not alive?
If I'm not alive, yeah.
Don't worry, guys. I'm going to let him do that. Anyway, I think they're pretty darn good. I don't know exactly how many carbs I would say in there because I can't do it scientifically like they do on package. But I would say that there's probably anywhere between 5 and 6 total carbs in each kind of even-sized cookie. If you take all the ingredients, divide it all, and then add it, divide it by the number of cookies you get. But anyway. All right.
Not bad.
I'm going to go on to my next one.
Thank you guys for watching our video. Please remember to like and subscribe.
Good.
We'll see you on the next one.
Ciao.
Bye.